watch him and I say Wentz is a guy who I think can more likely to repeat his near MVP season and play at that level than Dak is to ever get to a near MVP level season. I think Dak is closer to Goff. And going into this past year, before Goff had his deal, I wondered, Bill Barnwell wrote about, could the Rams possibly be the first team, draft a quarterback, have him play well enough, and then when the rookie contract's up, put the franchise tag on him just to flip him to a quarterback-desperate team, get the draft capital in return, and turn that whole thing over. And when it looked like he wasn't going to get a deal, I thought they might really be doing that. They might think that the coach there, Sean McVay, is the secret sauce, that the weapons are the secret sauce, and that we can find someone else not at $34 million a year. They obviously didn't feel that way. They paid him, and next year he is the single biggest cap hit of any player in football, and I think that's going to be an anchor around their neck. I worry for the Dallas Cowboys that if they do sign him to a long-term deal and they push that cap figure in 2020 down as low as possible to keep Amari, to maybe re-sign Byron Jones, well, then in 2021, Dak's going to be in the situation Jared's in, where he is one of, if not the biggest cap hit of any player in football. Can you win that way? I don't know that you can. And the new head coach, I would want to see how Dak plays under McCarthy maybe in a trial year before I give him a long-term deal. How much of that plays into it? What if Dak can't do McCarthy's offense? What if McCarthy gets Dak and says, man, we can do better at quarterback than this, but you've signed him to a half-decade-long contract extension?
I don't think that even matters. I don't think Jerry Jones hires Mike McCarthy if Mike McCarthy's not sold on Dak Prescott and can't get the very best version of him. Because, I mean, when he's going through this interview process, he's like, okay, who's going to be the guy that can help my team get over the hump? And with the assumption that comes along with that, getting the best version of number 4. I just feel like if Jerry Jones wasn't sold on Dak Prescott, then it wouldn't be a situation where we're here now talking about whether or not they're going to tag him or extend him. I think that they've already made up in their mind that Dak is their quarterback moving forward. Now it's just a matter of trying to fit all of the players that you need to support him under the salary cap.
I don't know if they've already decided that. If they already decided that, they would have made this deal a long time. If Dak is their guy, sure shot, they would have somehow found a way to come to an agreement. But we talk about how this is where their window is. Their window is open. Dak is coming off a statistically great year for Dak. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. This is the Super Bowl recipe with Amari, Dak, and Zeke. That we saw this last year.
Well, Jenna, the reason why I say they're already sold on Dak being their quarterback, because the Dallas Cowboys gave Ezekiel Elliott a contract worth $90 million. You don't give a running back a contract worth that amount of money if you think your team is a championship contender, and your team is not a championship contender without a quarterback. So I think that's why I believe that Jerry and Steven know that they're going to have to rely on Dak in this window of 2 to 3 years that they have in order to get a Lombardi trophy.
I guess my point is the 2-year window can be 2 franchise tags if you really want it to be. Now, you're right that you got to take you got to lose pieces. That medicine. You got to take that cap hit all at once, but at least once you want to then move on from him, if you do, it is clean. Now, you would never do that if you are certain he is your guy long term. To answer your question directly, Jenna, I think one of the reasons they could be sold on him but not have the deal done is if he is asking for 40. Man, he was asked, are you worth $40 million?
And he said, I'd write that check.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't exactly knock that down. And they're going to put all of last year's failures, fairly or unfairly, at the feet of Jason Garrett. They're going to say, we do have the pieces. We had everything right. Look at our numbers, 25 points per game, 400 yards per game, number 6 in the NFL in scoring margin. The problem was the coach. And maybe the problem just was the coach. I have some skepticism on that, even though I think it was time to move on from Jason Garrett. But that's how they can say, let's do it all over again and expect different results, because they brought in a Super Bowl champion head coach to replace Jason Garrett.
The one thing I will say is if you're going to franchise tag him, then you're not going to have as much talent around him. And if you're talking about a quarterback that you think is limited, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense either.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming up, is Luka already a top 10 player in the NBA? We will rank all the players in the NBA. 1 to
365?
1 to 365. That's next.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun. It's actually 450, but we're going to talk about guys who